Good, hit the record. Perfect. Hi, good morning. Well, good afternoon now. Welcome to session 2 of our business bootcamp, how to market locally and into the digital age. We would like to welcome Derek, the general manager at Northern Pacific Center. Thank you so much for being with us today. Just a few things. We'll go through your presentation. Please, everybody hold their questions until afterwards, or just send them in the chats. I can definitely ask your question at the end if you don't feel comfortable coming off of mute. Or if you're sticking around for after the presentation, we will open a Q&A afterwards. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you guys again so much for joining us this afternoon. Thanks Region 5 for the invitation to do this presentation today. And Stephanie, I can see you. Can you just thumbs up that you're still seeing my screen okay? And can hear me? Okay, perfect. My name is Derek Owen. I'm the general manager here at the Northern Pacific Center in Brainerd. A little bit of my background. I have a degree in public relations and advertising, which includes marketing. That degree was 20 years ago. So the effect that that has on how we're marketing now is a little bit different. That some of those things we were not being taught 20 years ago with the capabilities and things that we do have now, which is something important that we'll talk about as we go through of the ever-changing world of marketing. The Northern Pacific Center, just a little bit on that for those who are not familiar, we are a 150-year-old train station. It was a repair shop for the Northern Pacific Railroad, and really how Brainerd, Minnesota got its start. So after the age of the repair shop, it kind of took on some new life, new ownership about 4 years ago. And we have about 14 different businesses that are on the property, retail type businesses, retail stores. We do have a bar restaurant. And then a big piece of our business too is weddings. We do a lot of weddings on our property, roughly 65 weddings a year. So we have multiple spaces for wedding venues. And then we also have a very large event space, which in Brainerd is pretty unique for its size. And then of course, just the history of our property. So as we go through this marketing locally and in the digital age, we'll refer back to some of the pieces, of course, that we do here at the Northern Pacific Center and kind of how it relates to our marketing plan. Okay. So first, what is digital marketing? Also called online marketing, right? It's the promotion of our brands that will connect us with our potential customers using the internet and other forms of communication. Not just email or social media or web-based advertising, but also text and multimedia messages, which we'll talk about a little bit later. And again, those are those things that did not exist 20 years ago. Okay, so what are the different types of digital marketing? So search engine optimization, or SEO, I'm sure a lot of you have heard of that before. We'll break these components down in a little more detail, but search engine optimization is just using keywords and certain components that will allow our businesses to come up when using search engines. Content marketing will go through, obviously the pieces and being direct with your marketing and messages. Social media marketing, very, very big part of what we do at the Northern Pacific Center, just over close to 3 million impressions we get a year on our social media. Pay-per-click marketing, it's new, but it's been around for a while as far as, you know, paying for advertising that people click on. So you only pay when people click on your advertisement. And we're going to look at some of those pieces as well. Affiliate marketing is maybe partnershiping with having a partnership with another organization. And there's some compensation involved in that, but it's really cross marketing and getting your message out in a broader scale. Influencer marketing is another fairly new component of marketing itself. With the Instagram and other social media outlets, there are influencers out there that you could hire to help market your products or services. Marketing automation using certain components and software tools that will do the heavy lifting for us. There's some work up front, but once you set some of your components in place, marketing automation is a huge help in that regard as far as setting up your marketing plan and really just kind of letting it do its own thing. Email marketing, of course, pretty self-explanatory, sending out our marketing components through our email channels. A big piece of email marketing is we need the email addresses and finding ways to capture that and have emails on hand. And then, of course, you know, mobile marketing. We're always carrying a mobile device around. That's a big way people are getting their information, and how do we get it in front of them from a mobile perspective. So we will talk about those components as well. Search engine optimization. So that's our first one here. We talked about that's when we're searching for anything to do with your business. Maybe it's part of your business name itself. Maybe it's a product or service that you're selling. And you can test this out very easily with any search engine. Just go in and start typing in certain keywords that you feel would be relevant to your business and see where you're coming up in search results. But staying on top of that is really going to help. We use a Wix website internally for the Northern Pacific Center. We did a lot of that work, of course, in-house, but tools like that, whether you guys are controlling your website yourself or whether you hire someone to do that, there's back office components that will help them set up search engine optimization. And it will lead you through some of the pieces that software thinks you need as far as helping you with SEO. So making sure you have relevant keywords, just what I talked about. If I wanted, the Northern Pacific Center to show up, if somebody's typing in, historic venues in Brainerd or things like that, I want those keywords to be in my search engine optimization components. Of course, being up to date with your business and contact information, making sure that all of your homepage description is filled in. Again, this is all just relevant to terms and words that our search engine databases are grabbing and crawling for. And then again, allow search engines to index your page. So that is something too that your website provider will be able to do for you. Or again, if you're navigating through the back office piece of your website, you'll be able to set up the indexing yourself. Again, optimizing your site to be mobile friendly. When somebody accesses your website from a mobile device, we don't necessarily want to see the full website view. We want to make it easier to view on that mobile device. It will reorganize things. What's really important with this piece, again, if you're the ones that are making the changes on your website, that once you make a change to your website, to go to the mobile side of things and make sure it looks correct. It doesn't always format it properly. It changes some things around, but you definitely want to make sure that your message is being very clear when somebody goes to your website via their phone or tablet. A custom domain, obviously that's important as well, as picking your domain name that's obviously appropriate to your business, that makes sense. Again, that will tie into email as well. Your name at your domain type situation. And then make sure that you have all your links out there for your social networking. So a big part of your website itself is links back and forth. That's what Google's looking at, those type of analytics of how many links do you have leaving your site that's coming back into your site. So you're just making sure that all those components are set up is extremely important for SEO. And again, the stress on that is if you're not the one handling that in particular on the marketing side, you're going to want to make sure that your website provider has all those components set up and that you're giving them the proper verbiage and words that you want to have out there for search engine optimization. Keep building your SEO progress. Something I wanted to put in here as well. It's not something that just stays stagnant. A lot of what we're going to talk about today is not something you just set and leave for the most part. It always needs attention. So keep building your SEO progress, update those keywords as different products change, as different things happen, different events for us come up, those type of things. We want to always be updating our keywords. And then again, if you want to hire SEO professionals, there's people out there that you can pay that monitor your placement on search results. So that is something, a service that you could provide so that they are keeping track and making sure that you're always showing up in top results when people are searching certain words. And then just like we're doing now, educate yourself on different practices. So do some research out there on SEO, use different keywords, change some things up, see if that's made any difference in people finding you out there on the website. So just again, put in a Google example, and that's what we're talking about is when somebody types in a word, what are we getting back? So we want to always be monitoring our SEO progress. Next, we have content management, content marketing, excuse me. As you can see, creation and sharing of online material to a targeted audience to stimulate interest in your products and or your services. So some of the type of content that is out there are blog posts and e-newsletters. So a big part of that is we can have those things, but are they being viewed or are they being subscribed to? So newsletters are great, but we need subscribers. So there's a lot of other ways to capture subscribers, whether you do social media contests, when they come to an event that you maybe are putting on, or if they have to, like I said, social media is a great way to try to capture those email lists, but again, e-newsletters are great. Those things are great tools, but we want to make sure we're expanding the reach of that so that every time we're building that newsletter monthly. We have a monthly newsletter that we use here, and we always want to keep our subscribers, keep them going. You drop some, but you of course want to gain some. So that's something to always stay on top of. Video and photo. We do a lot of videos at the Northern Pacific Center. Maybe people get sick of them. A lot of times it's me, but it's a great content piece. So sometimes people just want to see a quick video. They want to see photos of what you have going on. Again, for us being an event space, it's an important piece for us to show certain components of our property and what we're doing here. And then videos, the suggestion with a video, of course, obviously, is don't keep them too long. People's interests are very short. They just want to see a message clearly, and just make sure you're getting to your point and getting that content across. And then, of course, social media posts, big piece of most people's businesses. And when it comes to marketing, because for the most part, we're going to talk about some other components, but social media is free, right? We have people that are liking our page, they're following us, etc. Our social media posting is big. So you want to make sure that that reaches there, that you have those likes, that you have those followers. Those are other things that we do constantly as far as contests are concerned. Like and follow our page and you get in a drawing for something. I think that's a big piece, and we talk about this a little bit down the road, is a lot of collaboration. So if we are just a big Lakes Jam, if anybody's heard of Lakes Jam in our area, we might have tickets that we got from Lakes Jam that we use as giveaways, and hey, share, like our page, etc. It's the same thing. We want to keep building our followers, whether that's on an e-newsletter, whether that's on our social media, because whenever we're sending our messages out, then we know we're reaching more of the masses. And again, experimenting, it says here too, that I put on here, with different types of content, because you might throw out a piece of content that you're like, this should be great. This should work. Trust me, we've done that plenty of times. Thought, hey, this is what we want to throw out there. And then there's feedback of they didn't understand the content. So again, making very clear that the content that you're putting out there is appropriate for the result that you're looking for, and then switch that up. So maybe, the frequency of that might change every other week, and you try a different piece of content, but you're looking for the same result. You should always kind of try different components and see what's going to work best for you, and track that statistically, which we also will talk about in a moment. And then again, just be consistent. So we don't want to confuse our consumer with what we're offering. Here again at the Northern Pacific Center, we have a lot of offerings. So it gets sometimes we have to really hone in on what it is we're looking to get out of our content. Are we marketing to people locally that we want them to come here and come to an event? Or is it because we want them to visit one of our shop spaces that we have? Weddings are a whole nother animal. We don't do a lot of marketing locally to our wedding business. A lot of that is destination. So we have a lot of destination weddings here, about 90% of our weddings. So a lot of our local marketing, you won't see a lot of that directed towards weddings, because again, that's not our audience. So that's not who we're looking for when it comes to that content. Here's a few examples that we talked about, right? Your blogs, the videos that we're doing, an example of a newsletter. I'm sure a lot of you are doing some of these components now. Again, blogging is great. I think it's a nice tool to use. You can get people that subscribe to that. But again, it's frequency. If you set up your blogs, you do a blog maybe every other week or once a month, however that frequency is that you feel is appropriate, you can't stop that. People go out and look at a blog and be like, wow, they haven't, posted a blog for 5 months. Maybe they feel like that's, you're not putting in the effort as far as getting those messages that you want out to your consumer. Videos, as you see again too, are super important for us. We use them a lot. It's a great tool. We try to keep them short. The one you see on the right, we were on a Minnesota Live news station there, which is obviously a big hit, and that's why it got so many views there, just over 9,000 views. But again, people like to see what's going on. They want to see what you have and what you're doing, what your product is. Again, keeping that content relevant is super important. And then again, of course, your newsletter. So the newsletter, again, need to stay on the frequency. If you're doing a monthly newsletter, that better come out monthly. There's a lot of times, again, you've seen where people do have a newsletter and they claim it's monthly, but maybe they're behind, they haven't put it out. It's super important that you stay on top of timing with that content. Social media marketing, one of the biggest components that we do here at the Northern Pacific Center. We use Facebook, we use Instagram. Those are the two biggest pieces that we use from a social media perspective. As you can see, from the images there's a lot of different social media platforms out there. Some of those logos you'll recognize, some you won't. And again, that's all part of staying on top of the different social media outlets that we have and your audience. For instance, for us, when I talked about our wedding business, that's Instagram all day long. Okay, we got brides that are on Instagram. They're searching for us that way. But when it comes to events that we're putting on here at the Northern Pacific Center for a boat show, or we do markets, that's Facebook all day long. So it's really just knowing the audience and the effort that you're going to put into those different marketing pieces, and knowing what platforms are relevant to you and which ones you should be on. And then again, know your audience. So that's going to come into play when you have the opportunity to interact with these people. The best part about that audience, especially locally for us, is we want to get local people to come to a concert or to, again, a boat show that we're doing. We already have them. We have them as followers. We have them, they like our Facebook page. So then that content is directed at the people who are interested in the Northern Pacific Center, which is extremely important. Not only, again, just meeting the masses, right? We can reach masses with social media, but there's the ability to focus in on people and demographics that we're looking to be a part of. You can see just a few examples on Facebook and Instagram that we have here. And as you guys maybe noticed too, there's the bolded areas that in certain posts, you can tag other people that are going to be a part of this event or a part of this product thing that you're selling, whatever that might be. Super important as well, because that's cross marketing. It's going back and forth. They're helping you, you're helping them. There's just a lot of ways to make sure that you're getting your message out there. And again, social media being that big platform to do so. Boosting your posts. So, hey, social media is free, right? It's great, but there's more you can do, right? We can boost posts. We can pay a little more to get more exposure. And the beauty of that is that you get to set that demographic. So again, if we're putting on a Brainerd boat show here, I do want that audience to expand a little bit. Maybe I'm going over to Fargo and Duluth and different areas because that's the crowd we're looking for. I can target those people. I can select that as my audience profile. So super important as far as boosting your posts, to know your audience. You guys do know your audience. You know who's patronizing your businesses, buying your products, etc. Tailor your content to those people and try to reach those masses, so that once you do this way, you find them this way, you've targeted them, they start liking your page or following you, and now you have them as a kind of an ongoing audience. So social media boosts, we spend a decent amount of money every month on boosting posts. One of our suggestions on posts, just from research I've done from in the industry that way, is that once you do a post and it's getting traction and good traction, that's when you boost the post. We used to do a post and boost it immediately, thinking, hey, this is a great post. We boost it, maybe not so great. So once that post is taking off, as far as, hey, we're getting a lot of interaction, people are liking it right away, boosting that post will give you an even better reach and better impressions. Okay, pay-per-click marketing. Advertising, right? So paying for Google ads. On the left-hand side, you see that if I typed in Northern Pacific, our ad comes up right away. It's denoted by the word ad by there. You know that is a Google ad, so that once somebody clicks on it, then we get charged for that ad. Okay, it's something that you can set a dollar amount, similar to the previous screen with the Facebook boosts. You put out a dollar amount that you want to spend for budget reasons. So if it's $50, well, once that ad's used up, it'll let you know that. It charges you, saying, hey, all these clicks happened, your $50 is used up. But again, it's a great way to get at the top of the search results. So that's what pay-per-click marketing is. On the right-hand side, I just typed in marketing help in Minnesota that had multiple ads come up. So you see the different ones that we're paying for advertisements there. Below, if you found that your website below that and click on it, that's not a paid ad. It's only where it has the ad designation to it, that if somebody clicks on that, then you will be charged out of that budget that you had specified for pay-per-click marketing. Affiliate marketing, another example. It's just a different model where you can work with different companies. You can set up compensation for generating traffic and leads to them, or ultimately sales that will come through to that organization. Just so you guys know, this is not a setup. This is just for an example. We do not have this set up with Region 5. We're just using it as an example that, hey, off of our upcoming events website page, we have a link to Region 5 because they are looking to get traffic to their seminars. So I click on it, it goes to the the marketing bootcamp here. And if people were to sign up and for this component, and maybe there's fees to it, whatever that might be, that would come back to the Northern Pacific Center as an affiliate marketer. So there might be compensation for it, etc. So it is a great way for collaboration. The Northern Pacific Center has a lot of options for this. It's not maybe direct affiliate marketing because we don't always set it up with a compensation component, but it's just also, use those connections that you have for, cross marketing. We do it all the time because we have 14 different businesses that are on our property. So we are linking back to their pages. They are linking to our pages for events. They're driving traffic to our page. We're driving traffic to theirs. There's a lot of that piece happening. So maybe not relevant to your business, depending on what it is that you're doing. But if there is something that's relevant where there's another organization that would benefit by having your links out there or your components that you say, hey, we'll set up a commission structure for that if people sign up directly from something we've put on your website, then you'll send commission back their way. So another way to do marketing is working with third party or what's called affiliate marketing. Influencer marketing definitely was not a thing back in college for me when we were talking about marketing plans. Influencer marketing is fairly new. It's been around for a while. I threw some stats that are in there. Sorry, it's a little blurry maybe, but the influencer marketing has grown to $13.8 billion in 2021. You can see that the search increases for what is influencer marketing on Google, a 465% increase in those searches. The example on the right, we have a market that we put on here. It's called Off the Rails Market. We decided to try it. Said, hey, let's try reaching out to a social media influencer. So we use this gal on the right hand side there. Liz Ann is her name, and that's what she does. So they set up she got back to us with their fee program and what it would be for her to come up. So she came up to our market, she walked around the market, she did videos, she tagged us, she tagged the businesses that were going on in the market. Because the big part about this influencer is, if you guys can see, she's got almost 27,000 followers. So that's a huge audience, right? That is not locally, right? Because we were looking to kind of reach the masses with this component. Now she's from Minnesota, which is relevant to us because we were trying to get that traffic to come to our market. But maybe even on a lower scale, somebody in your community that has a lot of followers or Facebook friends, etc., it still could be used the same way. You're reaching out to them to say, hey, you bought our product, or you tried our product, or you went to our event. Will you share this on your page? Talk about it, say something about it, because you're just reaching an even larger group again. So you're reaching the masses for them. It's a big piece, something you could pay for or something you don't pay for, again, with the relationship that you might have, but it's something to consider. We've only done it once so far. We are going to try it again for our markets that are coming up here. And we're going to talk about tracking a little bit too from these things, but it is definitely something to consider because it is such a hot item now with the number of followers that, Liz Ann's followers here, when she posted about Off the Rails, they're listening, right? Because that's the whole point of her kind of creating that influencer following, that her people respect her and what she's posting about. So big piece of marketing in today's world is the influencer marketing. Marketing automation is another big component in what we do. There's definitely different software programs out there that will help you with this. It just takes out of your daily work as far as, hey, I got to post something every day, or every other day you're like, oh, I better log in and put this component on Facebook. Well, now you can schedule those things, and there's software that will do that. Facebook actually has that component. The Meta Business Suite within Facebook will allow you to schedule different posts. It's a way for you to sit down and say, hey, these are the posts that I created for the month, and here's the frequency that they're going to post, and you set up the times. Software will even let you know when your users are more apt to see the posts. Maybe it's 5 to 7 p.m. at night that they're on. So those are good times to set a post. And you can actually set up some automation with software too to actually post when most people are on. So if the software is recognizing that a lot of your followers are online at the time, it will put a post out there. So a lot of automation components, it's super helpful. There is some work on the front end, right? As easy as it is, once it's set up, you do have to put the work in on the front end as far as what that's going to look like, setting your marketing plan, getting all of those components set up so that it's going to do the work for you. You know that, hey, for the month, all my posts are going to happen and when they're going to happen. The tricky part for us that comes into play sometimes is things happen on the fly, right? Somebody stopped in the day, they did an on the fly event, or just other things outside of what your marketing plan was, and now you want to post on it. So it's like, oh, I just posted right on top of another post I had scheduled this afternoon. Those are the things you got to watch for, because you don't want your post to get buried. So if I posted something today at noon and then I post something at 1 and something later at 5, well, my noon post definitely got pushed down. So the relevancy of that post gets lost a little bit. So just be conscious of those things. The other big part of this is just the tracking component of this. How is it working for you? So as you can see on the right-hand side, we use the Sprout Social as one of our programs that we use to help us with our automation, as following the performance. So we've kind of set a standard for ourselves here. It's probably low now. Initially, we just said, hey, every time we post something, we should at least get 1,000 impressions. And as you can see, these are some of our top impressions that happen. You know, we're at 52,000 for the one that you see on the left, et cetera. But it sets some goals that way. That's a big piece. As far as, we've definitely had posts that got 200 impressions. And then it was, why did that happen? So changing the content component again is very big. So what did we do in that post that got us 200, and what did we do in that post that got us 30,000? So playing with content, mixing that up, deciding, hey, was it a video? Was it the first two ones you see here were videos? And then was it just a certain post? Was it something static? So paying attention to all those components, it's important, because don't just put content out there to put content out there. It needs to be relevant, it needs to be appropriate for your audience, and make sure that you're keeping your audience and your consumers engaged. This is a very small piece that I had snipped out of our software, but it's showing you too that automation goes to the email component. We only had something recently set up that just had this piece in there. So I apologize for wanted to add some other visual, but what it's showing you is that you can set up automation with, once somebody signed up, if we put a sign up link somewhere and said, hey, sign up for our newsletter, for instance. Well, once they signed up, now it triggers something. The software will trigger to say, hey, now send them an email with this certain content or this certain action item. And this is only a one step after in this visual. This could be 10 steps, to be honest. So you could set up something where if you sent out content and the user opened the email right away, then boom, a day later they get a different email component. Maybe somebody didn't look at that email for 5 days. The system knows that and will send them another reminder type email. So again, that's all part of that automation, where you're not just staying on top of that of like, oh, who looked at my emails and how come they didn't respond, or this person did respond, but did I or they did an action item, but did I send them the follow-up? So you can set all of that automation up through your email marketing system to do that. Again, we use MailChimp internally. There's a lot of different mail software providers out there to use, but that's all built into their software, because that's how important this piece is that it's built in there. You just need to set it up. You need to tell it what to do and create that content. Email marketing in general, right? I think we all are pretty familiar with what email marketing is. You send out a message and like it says, you hope that your prospect clicks on it. You need to make sure that, again, those emails are wanted. We all get spam emails, right? We get emails that we're like, how did they even get my email? Or where is this coming from? Those type of things. You need to, again, make sure that's what's tough about capturing people's emails in general. And the best part is if they actually subscribe. So if they're subscribing to an email, that's great. They wanted to do that. We try to capture emails as often as possible when they come to an event. They tell us a little bit about who you are, grab an email address, etc. But you do need to make sure that, as most of you are aware with emails that you don't want to get, you do have an opt-out option at the bottom, so they can unsubscribe, because we don't ever want somebody to view us as we're annoying, right? We send them too much stuff, or they don't even know how they got this stuff. We want to give them that opt-out. They need to have that in the bottom of your signature so that they can opt out of those options. But emails are great, because if it's something that you wanted, if it's content that you had signed up for, you're going to open those emails. So you're going to see the email came from your company. What's happening now? Do they have a promo? Are they creating a new event? Are they selling tickets? Whatever might happen there. So just, again, make sure that the content is relevant. The body of the email is relevant. The subject line is super important as well when that comes across, right? Try to capture people's attention on what your email message is going to be, and stay relevant, right? Stay relevant with those emails. So if you're considering the email marketing piece, here's a few tips in here, and some of these we did talk about. Make sure you're, again, sending the content to the relevant people. So capture that audience, know who they are, send the email for the appropriate product or service that you are looking to get the response from. Mobile devices, when you send that email, it better look good on a mobile device. I open almost all of my emails, shouldn't say almost all of them, but a lot of my emails I open on my phone because it's different times of the day. You're pulling them up, you're looking at that email. If it doesn't look good, or I got to move side to side to see something, I'm very rarely will look at it unless I get back to my computer at another time. So just make sure that it's easy for people to pull up on their mobile device, take a look at that email, make sure it looks good. Creating a schedule again, when do you want to send out emails and what is it about? Depending on your business, if you have a product launch or if you have an event coming up, you want to back into that. So what we do is we say, hey, this is happening on this date. Now we back into it. So how far out do we want to start an email campaign? What is the content going to be? And how often are we going to send these emails? So back in, create a schedule and back into that desired result, and run A and B testing. Super important. Again, to make sure that that content you're sending out is being seen and is being getting some interaction. So what I mean by that, it can be as simple as changing a couple words in the subject line. So a crude example, if I'm sending out an email on an event that's coming up and I put off the rails market happening in Brainerd, and then my other email looks exactly the same, but says tickets on sale now for Off the Rails. And then you'll be able to see the data of, did one perform better than the other? And all I did was change a few words in the subject line. So you should always have what we call an A and B test. Make sure that, hey, this one worked better, I need to stick with this. And then you should do that for everything that you send out. So make sure you have a test, something to compare it to. I think it's a great component to use, and it gives you really good results on the back end. Some of the options here too that you see in the back office, letting you know, like here's a email that we had sent out to our local district about buying tickets, lets us know the recipient list and who opened, who clicked, etc. Stats are incredibly important. If we are just blindly throwing darts at the wall on marketing, we definitely need to relook at that, because we need to know the results. What did we do? What have we been doing that's worked and what hasn't worked? And then continue to focus on those pieces that were successful, and knowing your click rates, your bounce rates, etc. A lot of times, open rates, industry standard, if you're getting 30% area of open rates, that's good. It might not seem good because you maybe sent out a bunch of emails and 30% opened it. That is actually industry standard, a good open rate. So focus on those, make sure that your content is relevant again, and then follow your statistics. Watch your statistics here. This is another piece of our software in the back. It just lets us know that what they call the content optimizer, letting us know, hey, our best practices met in the communication we created. So a lot of software will let you know that. So they're letting you know, hey, before you even send that email out, did you meet some of the components? And is this going to be a pretty good communication? Mobile marketing. Before this, I actually just got a text message again from a local clothing store here in town that let me know that they have a special happening, and reply yes if I want to get the coupon. So mobile marketing is a big piece now. A lot of you maybe get those same types of updates if you subscribe to those. There's a few examples on the left. Casey's General Store, get those all the time as well, letting me know why I should go grab lunch today and how much it's going to cost me. So those type of marketing that's in your face, right? We're carrying these phones around, boom, there it is, it pops up for me. I see that there's a savings going on or there's deals happening. To be honest, we haven't started doing that yet. That is the very next marketing piece on our list, is to start looking into the texting notifications. So people would opt into that. You obviously, of course, the second one there, you see a stop saying, hey, I don't want these anymore. So you need to, again, always give an opt out to these components, but something to try. If you haven't tried it already, maybe you have. They can be very successful because, again, we're on the go and we see these opt outs on our phone all the time. Another piece of mobile, scrolling through ESPN, for instance, there's a video ad for Bosch that popped up. So you see that, hey, those are options for you to do as well. Is advertising on mobile devices are a big piece too. We click on that, it goes right into their website, etc. So there's different ways to network and do your marketing through mobile devices that way. And then on the right hand side was social media, right? Scrolling through, it's a sponsored ad. You see the word sponsored. They sponsored an ad there for BombTech Golf. Golf is an interest that I have, so that ad pops up for me. Those are components too that you'll have access to. So if that's something you want to sponsor, if you're sponsoring ads through social networking pieces, it will show up again to the relevant people. It's searching who's interested in golf components, who's been looking up golf, who's been purchasing golf items. So it knows the user's history that way. And if your advertisement is something that appeals and has the right components to that user, they're going to see those advertisements pop up as well. Okay. So what are some of the benefits, of course, of digital marketing? So obviously we talked a little bit about a broad geographic reach, and it's super important again to identify that reach, right? Who are we trying to get our message to? I talked about it earlier. We do not, there's certain things that we're marketing that it's not even for our local area. We want to target the Minneapolis, St. Paul. We want to go to Duluth, Fargo, actually all across the US when it comes to our wedding business. So that's a whole different demographic, and we use a different platform altogether. We use Instagram mostly for our wedding marketing. But when it comes to things that are local, whether it's just a small local event that's being put on here, or our coffee shop is doing a promo of some sort, then we're going to pick a certain demographic that's local to us. So that's definitely a benefit, that you can hone in on the people that you're looking for. Cost efficiency kind of comes into play as well. I mean, you get to set the standard as far as what are you going to want to spend to do that. So you can, set that up any way that you want. You can draw your visitors to a certain area for a pretty inexpensive cost when it comes to, like the boost that we mentioned earlier. And then quantifiable results are very important too. Setting up the ability to see what's happening. So this marketing plan that you've established, you've put it out there, you're on mobile devices, you're sending out these newsletters, you're going to get the results back to you right away. So you know that, hey, this person clicked on this, that ultimately led to the purchase of a product. For us in the event side of things, it's a little bit harder if they came to the door to buy a ticket, for instance, because what we do is have somebody at the door to say, hey, how did you hear about us? Now, if they bought their ticket online, we know exactly how they heard about us. They did it through Facebook, if they did it that route, or they went out to our website. We have the results to show this is how they bought our product. The other pieces, again, for us, like I said, we don't know for sure if they just came to the door to buy a ticket. So we need to ask them how they saw or heard about our event. But results are big. Keep a pulse on that constantly. It's easier to personalize. Like I said, again, the messages are personalized for our audience. If we are sending something out to brides, it's going to be wedding specific. It's going to show our beautiful venues. We're not going to send the brides the pictures of the monster truck rally that's happening out back at Northern Pacific Center. That's definitely something they don't want to see. So again, it's just knowing the audience. What is the content that you want to deliver to them? And it's very easy for digital marketing purposes to personalize those pieces. And then again, just more connections with customers. That kind of wraps in that too, of like, we know the customer, we know their buying habits. We can hone in on what those people are interested in. And if it falls in line with our product or services, we can target them. And then the conversions. Yep. So just tracking, how did they come to us? Like I mentioned earlier, did they click on a link that got them to buy our product, or just got us a lead through it, or signed up for our newsletters? Not always. One thing for us is it's not always necessarily selling something immediately. Maybe that campaign for us is just getting more emails, or we just want to get people to the property. We just want them to come here and experience it. We're not necessarily selling something tangible like that, but that's promos that you can have social media wise. We do it all the time, saying, hey, like and share type things. We capture emails, or we're just looking to get, more users, more people that we know that are interested in our property and the history of the Northern Pacific Center. There's a lot of different ways to convert what you would, a success. It's not necessarily the product or we sold a ticket, but we got people interested in what we do and who we are. So that's a big piece of what we try to do every day. Okay, this is just a little bit of a recap, but this is from us specifically, what we're doing in my team here. a few years back, the marketing team here was just me. We had the fortune of, through our growth, that we have a marketing coordinator now that works with me. And these are just some things that we sit down and make sure that we're doing every single day. So the relevancy of your content, again, make sure that content that you're putting out there is relevant to the audience. Clear messages. We've had instances where we were selling tickets, for instance, and said that our VIPs were sold out. They thought the whole event got sold out. So as much as it might seem clear to you, test that to an audience. Find out if that is something that is very clear. They understand it. They get what that message is, and adjust accordingly. So establish the timelines for your campaigns. Like I said, what we do is whatever that end result is, if there's a date to that, we back into it. And how do we want to set measurables along the way? A lot of times we'll say, hey, by this time I want to get 100 more likes on Facebook for this event that's coming up. Out of the event, it's going to give us 100 more likes. At this point, it's going to give us another 50. We're going to have so many tickets sold by that point. Start setting measurables for yourself to make sure that those, that your campaign and what you're putting forth is working. And that goes right in the next one. Make sure that you have that measurable data. We do a monthly data reports, pull all of our marketing pieces that we've done, take a look at our social media. How are things responding? How are things working? Do we need to make those adjustments? And then that falls into be adaptable and try new things. That A/B, maybe it's A, B, C, D as far as your test group. Put things out there, see what's working. If you feel like things are getting a little stagnant in your marketing, try new things. That next one is something we do here all the time. That sounds negative, but don't be afraid to fail. We fail constantly, and it's a good thing because we learn from those failures and what to do differently. And it's all about trying things. If you haven't done something before, try it out and be like, okay, that worked or that didn't work. So we need to focus and do something different, but you certainly cannot be afraid to fail. We just hopefully a lot of times during that failure didn't cost us thousands and thousands of dollars, but usually in this digital marketing world, it doesn't need to. It might have cost you a couple $100 because you tried to do a certain boost or a promotion that just flopped. So don't be afraid to fail though, because that will adjust your marketing methods down the road. And then collaboration is huge. I think we all have an outlet somehow of another, a business that might align with what we're doing. They not necessarily compete with us, but they're a partner. They're it's really big as far as collaborative marketing is concerned. So for instance, Region 5 is putting on seminars. So get Derek the link. I'll put it on Northern Pacific Center's website, let people know about it. Nothing I want out of it. It's just, hey, we're sending people to a site. Like, do you have those kind of outlets where you're collaborating with other components saying, I have a product or service, or this is happening. If we put it on your site, we can cross market this and we can help each other. It's never, I don't think, frowned upon to go to other organizations and see what they're doing for marketing, just like we're doing right now, is find out what's working. I said, don't be afraid to fail yourself, but learn from other people's failures too. So, like I said, this is marketing is such a big scope, and doing things locally. This is more digital that we were talking about today, right? With our digital marketing, but I wouldn't abandon print marketing. Obviously, we do have some billboards from that perspective. We do things in the newspaper as needed, radio as well, right? Obviously, we have so many different outlets, but find out what's working for you. Just had a meeting this morning on our radio stuff. Are people really, are we getting what we need to out of radio, for instance? And that's a decision we have to make. Like, do we allocate those dollars back into social media? Because that is our biggest responses, biggest impressions come from social media. So do we need to allocate our marketing dollars somewhere else? And that's all part of you going through your marketing plans, seeing what's working and what's not working, and maybe having to say, hey, we're not going to do radio for this year. Maybe a year's a long time, but say, hey, we're abandoning that for now. We're going to put our money somewhere else. And then you have results. You need to make sure that was the right decision to make. So yeah, trying different things. Like I said, marketing is a great, big world, and just making sure that we're doing the things that are appropriate and sending out the right content. Don't be confusing to people. It surprises me every day that we will market like crazy for an event and somebody never heard about it. So you maybe have that happen to you, which is, like I said, besides maybe flying airplanes with banners behind them, I don't know how some people don't see content, but it happens. And we just got to make sure, if those are the audience I'm trying to reach, how can I reach them, and what are the things that I need to do? So I know I threw kind of a lot of information at you. I do want to open up to questions. If you guys have questions in particular to like what we are doing here at the Northern Pacific Center, definitely do that. Thanks again, Region 5 as well. I'll thank you guys again after, but yeah, definitely want to open up to questions now, and or share some feedbacks of your own, what's happening in your digital marketing world. We would be glad to hear about it.
Well, thanks, Derek. That was amazing. And since I'm not savvy on all that stuff, I appreciate it. I have a question, please. So how did the pandemic affect your business, and what did you guys do to pivot?
Perfect. That's a great question. So we are an event business. So as you can imagine, the pandemic was very detrimental to our business. But it also, a big thing I always say out of the pandemic, it creates opportunity. There's always opportunity for something. So for us, actually what happened during the pandemic, we rebuilt our website during that time. We pivoted and said, hey, now this is the time to refresh what we're doing here and get ready for when it turns around. Okay, we all knew it was going to happen at some point, and you got to be ready for it. So we didn't just sit on our thumbs, which I know a lot of you didn't do either. One big thing too about our area is this, again, is knowing your audience. We started 9 new businesses during the pandemic here. And they're retail businesses, because if you guys remember, and I'm sorry to make light of this, but it is, during the pandemic, we all had to stay in our homes, but we all could still go to Walmart. So the retail never shut down. And that was a demographic here that was a need. Like our coffee shop opened up. We have a gourmet candy shop that opened up, a barbecue supply store. So all these businesses actually started kind of coming out of COVID because they were retail type businesses. But that again was, we recognized that audience, and we kind of went after that, saying, hey, look at the pandemic did. Retail never shut down. So not to say it's always a safe bet to just be in retail, but we decided to turn a lot of our spaces into retail and get those businesses on board here. So we saw it as a revamp time, kind of a refresh, and then knowing what people want coming out of the back end of it.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Derek, thank you so much for sharing with us today. You went over a lot of stuff. And I know that for small businesses or for people who haven't done any of this stuff before, it seems really intimidating. So I have 2 questions for you. Do you have any resources to share, either on how people get started with a social media plan, some of the basics, or how to keep up to date? So you mentioned that you were in school a few years ago and lots of stuff has changed since then. And, in 2 years from now, things will be different, the landscape as far as digital marketing. So do you have any resources right off the bat to share with us, or is there a way that we could potentially get in touch with you?
Yeah, absolutely. You guys can certainly reach out with me. It's just, I'll give you this right away. It's Derek, DEREK, like you see on the screen, dot npc1871@gmail.com. So that is my email. You guys can reach out to me that way. We can converse on other things. But as far as like, if people are, especially small business wise, wanting to, start social media presence, Facebook has done a great job of actually leading people through that. They have that Meta Business Suite now where it's set, it shows you how to set up your calendar. It gives you a lot of the data, a lot of the information is right in there. But of course, just searching for those pieces are out there. It can be overwhelming. Like, had mentioned, this content definitely can be overwhelming, but I think a lot of those social tools already have the meat in them to kind of get you started and get you going on that. So I know that's not maybe the greatest, like, hey, here's the 5 sites to go to, but I would definitely say, again, for on that small business front, starting a Facebook page and knowing, it gives you the content, it drives you through things that you can do to set it up. That's definitely where I would kind of do my research in there, and especially start creating your marketing calendar that way. But you're right. Like, so again, marketing 20 years ago when I was going through college and getting my degree is so much different today. So it is just finding out, another big thing, of course, this sounds very elementary, but what works when someone markets to you, right? Like you guys personally at home, like what works? Is it the mail that the mailer that came to let you know about something? Is it that the phone piece? Like what worked for you, which you could maybe in turn say, hey, let's try that in my business because this is how I like to get marketed to, or this is how I hate to get marketed to. So I'm not doing that. So that's just the learning process as we go. And again, in the ever-changing world that we're dealing with, we don't want to get left behind because there's sometimes you can't get kind of archaic in the ways that you're doing things. We got challenged that way this morning from my boss and said, hey, what have I learned? He asked, that was a question from him. What did I learn through my process of setting up this presentation? And my response was, we are way ahead of where we were a year before in our marketing. But sometimes what happens is you get yourself in a lane. It feels comfortable. I've done these things. I've set this up. I feel like everything's working great, and I stay right here. Well, that's what can't happen, right? We have to, what's the next lane? How do we try something new? How do we make sure that what we're doing is actually working as well as we think it is? But what's the next level? How do we always take our business and our marketing to the next step instead of staying comfortable in a lane? Was there another question in there? Or did I get them both?
So I have a little bit of a follow. Yes, I have a little
Yeah.
bit of a follow-up question. So for smaller organizations, I know that SEO is really important in SEO health. Do you have any recommendations on what to focus on first as far as digital marketing types?
Yeah, so SEO, I'm glad you said that. That is a good one to focus in on because if someone's searching you, we need to be found, right? If they even just heard about you or you're out in public saying, hey, look me up. Well, if they look you up, I'm like, I cannot find them anywhere. Or if you're on page 5 of a Google search result, that's not good, right? There's a website data that, hey, we have 3 clicks to even keep someone's interest. So if they can't even find you on the first page, they're most likely not going to find you. So SEO, yes, I would say that is step number 1 to make sure that we can find your business. Simple as, people are set up, but then they're like, how come people aren't finding me or my address on Google? Something you have to set up, right? That has to be set up within Google so that when I'm looking for you, oh, there you are, you're pinned on a map. I see where you're located. So make sure step number 1 is you can be found. And yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, but make sure your SEO's set up, make sure all your Google Analytics components are in place. And a lot of times, like I mentioned, we didn't go with a fancy website design team. I feel like we have a really good website, but we did that in-house. We went through Wix, which is pretty easy to use, and it helps to have some knowledge, but it'll walk you through it, for the most part. And those components are built in. It leads you through, hey, how do I set these things up? It'll let me know, like, hey, these things aren't filled out. You're not going to be found on Google because you didn't do this. So, better fill that in. Like, it'll lead you through the process. But yeah, small business wise too, or if you're just getting started, make sure people can find you and make sure that you're using relevant words that are appropriate to your business.
Well, thank you so much again, Derek, for coming and visiting with us, sharing what you know. I just want to open it up for one last chance for anybody to ask any questions. All right, I think that's it for the day. Thank you guys so much for coming and visiting with us. This will be up on YouTube if anyone wants to take a second look, or for people watching it for the first time. Thanks for coming to our YouTube channel. Check out Region 5, check out Northern Pacific. It's a beautiful website, and 2, it's a beautiful event center. I've driven by a few of the places and gone in a few of the shops before, so check it out if you're in the Brainerd area. Website is gorgeous.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Region 5. Thanks, everybody who's listening, and good luck to everyone out there. Happy marketing.
Thanks, Derek.